welcome to Movies, Films, and Flicks. I am Mark Hofmeyer, and joining me is a man who is about to belt out a stirring rendition of Sweet Caroline. It's Erik Hofmeyer.
I can't do it. I'm not from Massachusetts. Not going to happen.
Remember when we used to go to Tampa Bay Rays games, and now they're crushing it. But when we lived there, Erik, in St. Petersburg, they were not destroying it. And we would get Red Sox fans in, and they would take over the stadium. And And this was after they won their championship, so they weren't the underdogs anymore. This is after fever pitch. Red Sox fans.
When did Sweet Caroline become such an anthem in Massachusetts? So, how long has it been?
97 is when it became, because I read some quotes here from the director, Ted Demme, and the writer, Scott Rosenberg, where they're like, yeah, we put this out in 96 and 97. That song got popular in the stadium. But according to NPR and several other articles, somebody had a friend whose daughter's name was Caroline. And so that year, in honor of her, they put that song on. And then everyone sang it and they won. And then they won again. So then it became superstition. So I don't know if it was Beautiful Girls, but the story that people have admitted to is that it was that like a guy just dedicated it to the daughter. Which is kind of like, this podcast takes me some interesting spots of research. It's something cool that I learned. So, yeah, it wasn't because of Beautiful Girls. It was because of a daughter named Caroline. And in my notes, I wrote Sweet Coraline, which if you've seen that movie...
I haven't. It creeps me out too much. I'm not going to watch it. I'm not going to show my kids either.
You know when people say, like, oh, it's nightmare fuel? Like, that movie's nightmare fuel. Like, that's... I find PG-rated kids films to be the scariest things. So you have Ernest Scared Stupid, you have Coraline.
She's like the female version of the troll from Ernest Scared Stupid.
Yeah, the other mother. Ooh, I know it has nothing to do with Beautiful Girls, but yeah. But yeah,
you're going the wrong direction from the movie we're discussing now.
I always try to go to Ernest Scared Stupid, so it's like a tractor beam. I just got to get pulled back to Beautiful Girls. Now, Erik, you and I. All right, so this came out in '96. And then I remember I got it from Columbia House Video, I believe, in 1997. And so that's when you graduated. You were gone, like in 98.
Yeah.
But you and I watched this together. Like you were.
We did.
All right, so 96, we saw this in the theaters, I think. We were watching all these movies in the theaters. I was 14, you were 16 when this came out. And I remember watching it and just going like, this is cool. Like these are people talking. I hadn't been like beaten down. Like I had no idea what it was like to be a 27-year-old dude who goes back to his town and just complains about his like girlfriend who's totally fine and a lawyer and probably pays for you to be a piano player. And then you go back home and you just tell all your friends that she's a 7.5, even though she's awesome. Like I had no idea what any of that was all about. But hearing all the converse, like Scott Rosenberg, like as Ebert said in his review that you sent me, Ebert said that he did a much better job in this film than he did in Things to Do in Denver When You're Dead. Because Things to Do in Denver When You're Dead feels like every movie's written, but that movie feels so egregiously written that it just infuriates you. But the speeches in this play quite naturally, I would say.
I agree. When I look back at my high school years and the movies I remember the most, this is probably in the top 5 of the quintessential movies of my life. And I think as a high school student, this is like a course in relationships as an adult. So you think like this is normal behavior, or you think these guys are cool. And you don't realize that it's just painting a picture about their colossal character flaws. And I think it sunk in. I took it so seriously in high school because those conversations were so natural. Like you said, it wasn't forced. It felt like buddies just hanging out, having conversations. And that's what I thought the world was like. So you're absolutely right. It felt really natural and like they're actually friends and these are real conversations that are happening.
And with Rappaport, when he's talking about beautiful girls and their gait and all that kind of stuff. But then you start thinking about it and you're like, this dude's 27. He's living in a room surrounded by photos of pinups.
Did we notice though, in the 90s, the pinups and the posters on the wall were a big thing. Like I remember we had all kinds of athletes and actors. I think we had some models on
Jenny
the wall.
McCarthy. I bought it at Walmart.
It was the age of pinups. That was a thing in the 90s, though. So now it seems weird because you got the internet and you can just go to whatever Instagram page you want. But then, you had it readily available by having the poster on the wall.
Oh no, that was a norm for '90s. But I guess it was a different culture too. But still, a 27-year-old dude who got broken up with and he's just harassing his girlfriend at a coffee shop, like with nothing but that. Like he's like, but I thought he was
Yeah.
cool though. That rich man, poor man. When I was like, oh man, that's awesome. They're gonna skip a social gathering to watch this show on TV. I was like, that's so cool.
Yeah, I thought that scene was pretty funny. It
Yeah.
was good, but really Matt Dillon brooding and just drinking and watching TV show. But yeah, you're right. You don't realize that this guy is not really cool. But in high school, you think he's cool.
I read a really funny. I think you might have shared this with me. I forget who did, but they went out and they cast. Like this is really well cast. I mean, Rappaport really pulls off the role. Hutton pulls it off. Matt Dillon, he plays off Birdman. Like you feel like he could have
Yes.
beaten up those four dudes. You feel that
But he
he's
is an
just
athletic, strong, handsome guy.
great at being morose in this. So I mean, they cast it really really well. But someone's like, if they just cast like regular looking people and like non-actors, this would be the most depressing movie ever made. Like imagine if they shot this movie with non-actors for 15,000.
Yeah, it would have been. But also the weather has something to do with it. I think that they filmed it in the bleak part of the winter with the snow everywhere. It wasn't sunshiny. They're drinking all the time.
Yeah.
Remember that line where Timothy Hutton says, "Oh, I've been drunk for 2 weeks," and I thought that was cool in high school, but now we're thinking about, hey guys, you might be prematurely aging here.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking about now.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. If they weren't good looking and if they weren't so optimistic and had that hope for a better day, it would have been a very depressing movie.
Yeah, it's like, what do I'm gonna go home sad, and then it all ends like not much changes at the end, but you
No,
still, it's quite an interesting movie, and the reviews are really positive. I went through the reviews on Rotten Tomato, and I went through just to see who did fresh and rotten. I just wanted to see like what the overall vibe was, and this is about 80% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's 7.1 on IMDb, which is like if it's over 7 on IMDb, that's a true barometer of whether people like it or not. Like
the audience
6.5,
score is high too.
yeah, 6.5 is fine, but if you get over 7 on IMDb, and I looked at like, okay, what do women think about this movie? Like imagine being a woman watching this movie, like Mira Sorvino's character. But I noticed that like 70% were positive. So I guess this at the time when this movie came out, people really looked at it favorably. But I think Ted Demme did a good job directing it. You have a good, likable crew of actors. It's one neat thing about it, Eric, is like it's wildly authentic looking. The production design, the wardrobe. I mean, just the cars that they drive around. The cars look dirty. Like the cars look like they've been driven around in that snow for a while.
It looks like every town USA, any small town across the country.
And it's in no way insulted. Like there's big houses in this town. So there's no like looking down on this town. And to be fair, I mean, Dillon and Rappaport, they're business owners. They snowplow the entire city. Like that's a good job that they have. And so, what's up?
And whoever wrote it, they understood small towns, the way that rumors get around the city about the affairs, the way that they refer to people as by what job they do. Like he's dating the meat cutter. He doesn't have a name. He just says the meat cutter because everyone knows what you do. And that's how they refer to you instead of their actual name. So it was really authentic. So I'm sure the writers grew up in small towns and had that to draw upon.
Oh, well, so Scott Rosenberg, let me read this to you. So he wrote, Scott Rosenberg, Beautiful Girls came out because I'd been working for months on the script for Con Air. In those days, the studio would make you write a detailed treatment before sending you off to script. It was a way for them avoiding to pay a step. Between Things to Do in Denver When You're Dead and Con Air, I was fully submerged in like violence, anger, racial epithets, death, porn. I was numb. I had been dealing with nothing but dark, because those are two quite violent movies that he was looking into. He's like, I found myself back in my hometown outside of Boston during one of the worst winters ever, and I was waiting on Disney to approve Con Air. He's like, I had just broken up with my girlfriend of 7 years. The snowplows were driving by my window, many driven by my buddies from high school, when it occurred to me, there is more, quote, there's more action, in air quotes, going on with my buddies here with turning 30 and not being able to deal with the women in their lives than in 20 Jerry Bruckheimer movies. So he wrote this movie in 5 days.
Wow.
He told his brother, he's like, I said to my kid brother, I'm going to my room and write, leave me alone. 5 days later, he came out with this script and it just poured out. He didn't think it was anything special, but he thinks that's why it resonates with so many people because he knew these snowplow drivers. He
Right.
lived in this snowy town. He had 7 years, man. He had just broke, that's where Plimpton and Rappaport been together for 7 years. So I think he wrote this, and he was a writer coming home. He wasn't doing too great. And then he wrote this movie in 5 days. And the interesting thing, he went in to do a TV show called October Road, where it's about a writer going back to his hometown after he was famous for writing a movie about his hometown.
Right.
So he had to deal with his friends afterwards for writing this script. So there is a lot of authenticity to it. And the director, Ted Demme, made everybody live together for 3 weeks.
Yeah. I bet the writer had some awkward conversations after the movie came out.
Yeah, exactly. But you sort of feel it. Like, this is a movie that comes from someone. This is a very earnest write. This seems like not like a first draft, but actually, he completely wrote it with James L. Brooks, who, as good as it gets in all those movies. And then James L. Brooks stepped away because he's like, I can't direct this movie. I'm like a 50-some-year-old dude. How am I going to direct a movie about these guys, 20-year-olds? So he passed it to Demme, who worked on.
They brought in the MTV guy.
Yeah, the MTV guy. But what's crazy? The MTV guy didn't MTV it up. Like, he lets shot lingers. There's a lot of quiet moments in this. There's some emotional moments.
Lingered. Yeah. They lingered on the supporting characters a lot. Like, they gave all the supporting characters a little bit of love, like Stinky, the sidekick, these random shots of people. He really did live in those little moments.
Free apps.
Yeah, Stinky.
I did feel bad for
the sidekick with the hat.
Oh, Max Pirlick, he's great.
Yeah,
but I love
he
Max
had a lot of
Pirlick.
funny lines.
But he also called out Dillon, like, hey man, like, how about you take a styrofoam cup? Like, you gonna bring back these mugs? He's like, dude, she's married. Like, these guys tell each other what's on their minds. They don't look at themselves. Like, they're totally fine. Like, Hutton is fine telling everybody else what to do, but he never looks at himself.
Well, that's the sign of when you have a good friend, is that they don't feel worried about telling you when you're wrong.
Yeah.
I think a good barometer of a friend is when you're doing something wrong and they tell you. And I think they captured that perfectly. And I think the brilliance of this script is not just the actual script itself, but how he brought in these different layers in that are so much to work with. Like, someone returning home after a long time to reconnect with everyone, like how much you've changed, how much your family has changed. Then you've got the 10-year reunion angle. Then you've got the fear of commitment. And then you've got the story angle, and you've got conflict at the end with the fight that they had. There was so many different areas to work with that all had this really cool intersection in this small town.
I mean, think about it. If you're Erik Dirty Hofmeyer in high school, right? You're the dirtiest, and like, you're just causing trouble. You're running stuff over. Like, everyone knows you as like, it's Dirty Hofmeyer. And then you come back 10 years later, but you've grown up, you've been domesticated, you have a job. Those people are going to be like, Dirty Hofmeyer, like, let's go roll. Like, there's that old, like, you sort of revert sometimes when you go back home. And I'm not saying you would, exactly. But that's how they know you.
Do you remember Just Friends when Ryan Reynolds was really fat in high school?
Yeah.
And he had the retainer, and then he got really fit, became a music executive, and he came home and he started reverting to his old high school ways in small town New Jersey.
That's what happens.
That's exactly it, yeah.
Because that's what they know you as. And, like, these people knew you growing up. Like, you spent all your time together. You grew up with them. So even though they haven't seen you in a while, they know, like, Dirty Hofmeyer. I'm not saying that was your name, but I actually
Did you do a video? You did a
Dirty
video
Hofmeyer.
Playing cards.
Yeah. That was a good one. That was a funny video. But no, I think it's, and I don't know, I haven't watched this movie since the 90s. I really haven't. Have you?
No, I have not watched it, I think, since high school or maybe college. It's been that long. It's always so fun to revisit these movies. We've been on a great tear with our 90s revisited. Starship Troopers, My Best Friend's Wedding, Only This Strong, and now this. It's just so much fun to experience it as a high schooler and then as an adult. And you look at it through a completely different lens.
You know what's interesting sometimes? People watch a movie and they're like, well, it doesn't hold up 20 years later. But I don't know if I like that phrase because you've changed 20 years. So it's, who was the demographic for this movie? Like, who?
Well, it could be a bad thing.
Yeah.
It's like, if you haven't changed in 20 years, it may be on you.
Yeah.
You know, are you growing? Are you moving forward in your life?
It's like, this movie does, like, so Starship Troopers for me holds up because when I saw it when I was a kid, I loved the action and explosions and all that. But then now I watch it knowing more about Verhoeven. I love what's the word? The propaganda and the fascism and the subtle gags. My Best Friend's Wedding, I didn't fully appreciate how subversive Julia Roberts' character was and how excellent she pulled that off.
how manipulative she was as well.
Yeah. And then Only the Strong, I mean, he basically started a gang to take out another gang. Like, it changed a lot watching. But yeah, this movie.
It's like I appreciate it more on a different level. I think now, before I appreciated for the guys, the drunkenness, the guy talk, the talk about chicks, which is they said chicks a lot in the movie, which is something that died in the 90s. That's not a lot of words in there that we don't use anymore as vernacular changes. But now I appreciate the complexity and how they walked that line. I mean, they walked a line with Natalie Portman that it could have been creepy really easily, but it was well intended and it was kind of tender. But it really walked those lines very, very closely. And they wove in so many different complex stories into this that it was really a rich watch. And you can watch it over and over again. It's a lot like a Love Actually with all those different stories tied up into one.
That character, though, of Marty. I mean, listen, you sent me that Charlie Rose interview. Every review I've read talked about how excellent Natalie Portman is. And I think that's also a testament to her acting and Hutton's acting because.
Right.
Well, and also, like, I wasn't looking at it in terms of like a 24 talking to this, like, because she was my age when I first watched it. So I was just enjoying the ride. But now you're kind of like, she's wildly precocious, this character. I mean, just wildly. And even though it's well written, I mean, it's like just conveniently standing at all times. And like, I actually felt bad for Uma Thurman's character in this movie because I just want everyone to just leave her alone. Like, guys, just like let her hang out. Yeah, because. Like, Rappaport takes her to the place and messes with her. And then Dillon is talking to her. And then Hutton keeps hitting. And I was just like, yo, just let her be.
You know, my perspective on that was completely different, actually. I looked at it as they were longing for something beautiful. Rappaport with his pictures on the wall. You got Matt Dillon longing for his high school days playing football as the most popular guy in high school. You had Timothy Hutton just smitten with anything that rolls by because he has no idea who he is. And then there's all this talk about beautiful girls. And then a beautiful girl comes into their life out of nowhere. She's completely approachable, completely cool, and they have no idea how to deal with it. So it's like they want this ideal, and then it's there, and they're completely dumbstruck. When she walks in, I mean, Uma can command a room. I mean, she comes in, and she just dominates. Everything just stops when she rolls in. And I don't know, I was more impressed with her and how everything can stop around her when she enters the movie. She is that cool. She is that pretty, that talented. But to me, I thought it was brilliant having her there, having that dose of reality, and then having them realize how idiotic they're being talking about beautiful girls, and they have no idea how to actually interact with one.
And then you got Hutton saying that Annabeth Gish, Tracy, is like, she's a 7.5 on every level. And I'm just thinking, like, what are you, Hutton?
I know.
Really, what?
I had the same feeling.
Like, he's like,
who are you to say that?
And to say that in front of your friends too, like, just to put down your other, your significant other in front of that, like, Hutton. I wish Rappaport would have been like, no, rate yourself. Like, I wish there would have been that scene.
But the brilliance, the counterbalance to that is when she met his brother and his dad, and they were like, this woman is incredible.
Yeah.
What is wrong? It just shows how his colossal character flaws not seeing this in her because he's so focused on himself.
And Andera said that too. Like, I bet people say the same thing about her.
Yeah, that was a good point.
Yeah. No, but I mean, listen, it's well written. It is. And I think Rosenberg wrote this from like a seemingly authentic place, which makes it work. But it's good, though. I guess it does challenge you. I guess these guys do.
I'm happy that it exists.
Yeah.
It exists, and it's amazing that it exists.
Yeah. And then Dillon's like, why do we always mess with the good ones? Like, that's like it's like a kind of interesting. I do think Sorvino's character, she's wildly underwritten in this movie.
Yeah, that's probably my biggest frustration is that her self-esteem was so low in this movie. It was like, why did you write her like that? But I don't know. Going back to Dillon, it's like they had to break Dillon for him to realize how great she was. Like, he had to be literally broken and in the hospital for him to get over himself. But yeah you're right. I wish Sorvino had more, I don't know, some more for her character going on.
Because then she goes to the hairstyle, like the hair salon, and then they just talks about him and like does all this, and it's just kind of,
I don't know. Well, that conversation in the hair salon with Rosie O'Donnell, that set up Rosie O'Donnell's speech in the movie, basically telling them how big of idiots they were.
Mm-hmm.
And like, this is not what real women are. You guys are completely out of it. I mean, that was a good speech. Her speech there and Rappaport's speech about beautiful girls were the two quintessential speeches that really stood out in this movie. Mira Sorvino set that part up.
I'm a fan of Taking Back Sunday, and they sample Rappaport's speech before a song. But I don't know if they got it that it was supposed to be a ridiculous speech.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Can you give some background?
There's a band called Taking Back Sunday. They're super emo. Like there's a line in a Taking Back Sunday song where the guy's like, "If I slit my throat, I would apologize for bleeding on your shirt."
Oof, that's really emo.
So they're super uber duper emo, and they sampled his speech.
Well, his speech did have some rhythmic aspects to it. It was kind of like poetry.
He's
like
a well-spoken dude, Eric.
Hope dancing in stiletto heels.
Has he practiced that?
Yeah, I mean, there was a rhythmic flow to that speech. There were a lot of short sentences, and it had a good cadence to it.
He's a quick guy in this movie, Rappaport. When he's always calling out Hutton. Remember, he's like, "Oh, the neighborhood Lolita." Like they joke about it like that. He's a quick dude in this film.
So well, he's right. Don't throw stones if you're doing strange things as well. Because Hutton was coming down hard on him and his posters. So if you're going to come down on someone, you better be prepared for them to answer.
I guess that's a good thing about Hutton, right? He's just completely oblivious of what he's doing. And then there's, like you said, there's no secrets. I mean, you know what's crazy? Noah Emmerich, this was his first movie. That's crazy. How is that?
Yeah, I know, right?
First, he's such a natural screen presence in this. And I do like him in this film.
Well,
and
he was Mo.
Yeah. And when push comes to shove, he was the one ready to go fight. Like, it's kind of interesting how you have all these dudes who are just kind of talking big game, but he's the
I like how Rappaport was criticizing him, but he's the one that actually had his act together.
Yeah. Like, man, what are you doing? Like, you're happy and you have like a beautiful family and a nice house, you know? But
he doesn't realize how unhappy he is. But the guy's just ice skating with his kids, having a great time, enjoying life.
Yeah. And Rappaport's a cheese eating, beer drinking, beer swelling, you know, like bozo. So yeah, I mean, it's I guess it's just interesting coming back at it from 20 years worth of.
Right. I got a question for you. How would you describe this movie? Because I think people didn't know how to describe it. I've heard it as a comedy. I've heard it described as a dramedy, some kind of combo between drama and comedy. For me personally, I think it's kind of the opposite of a damsel in distress movie, where these guys thought like some beautiful woman would come in and rescue them from all their flaws and their pain and their issues. To me, that's what it was. But how would you describe what is this movie?
Just dudes get over themselves. Just plain and simple.
Just grow up.
Yeah. Come on, guys. Like, come on.
But to their credit, they did learn at the end of it. Matt Damon had to be broken to realize how he needed to grow up. Timothy Hutton needed to be home drunk for 2 weeks to kind of realize what he had in front of him. So they were on the road to recovery.
The problem was Matt Dillon was 32 when this came out. Hutton, I think, was probably, how old was Hutton when he made this movie? So Hutton was probably late 30s. So when you watch this movie, you're not watching 28-year-olds. I feel like you're watching, like, oh yeah, so he was 36, Hutton, when this came out. So you're watching this movie, and there should be 27-year-olds, but it's, like they're 30s, so they're older than they should be. So if you had a bunch of 25-year-olds doing stuff like this, it's probably a little bit more believable.
But isn't that the norm in most movies where people are usually a few years older than what they're playing?
Oh yeah, I mean high schoolers, they're like 47.
Oh, look at Dawson's Creek. Vanderbeek was like 30, right?
Yeah, and that Never Have I Ever. There's a show we like that John McEnroe narrates. The kid's 30. So, but I guess sometimes it's tough though when you watch movies about 25-year-olds and they have 35-year-olds because they just look so much older. So then you're associating them with being older characters, not 27-year-old characters. Still, this movie holds up, and I mean, there's a lot of like the Sweet Caroline moment when they're singing. The free apps moment when Noah Emmerich's beating up the husband. You mess with him, you mess with me. You mess with me, you mess with him. You do, and then they look at each other like, "What's going on?" And just Hutton smashes the bros' cars, which that's going to cost some money there in insurance. But
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, okay, so we didn't watch this for 20 years. 20
yeah.
years went by. When you look back before you rewatched it for this episode, what was the main thing that you remembered about the movie? And for me, it was Natalie Portman by
Yeah, I
far.
mean, it was
That was
that.
the person.
I think that for some reason the fishing the boathouse scene with Uma Thurman and Timothy Hutton, because they played that a lot in the trailer. That scene, I really remember Max Perlich like be cool for life. Like, I
Don't
don't
be a
know.
stranger. That's
Yeah.
where I got Don't Be a Stranger. And I've been using that ever since this movie, by the way. Just want to share that with you. I still use it to this day.
And I think that like those three scenes probably like those three are the things I take with me like be cool forever. Uh, so I think that's one of, and I really didn't want to revisit this movie because Natalie Portman recently says when she was on set everyone loved her like Demi said she was great, everyone's like she's going to be an Oscar winner, and she went to Harvard and went in Star Wars and won an Oscar, and now she's just like crushing it. But she said that this role sort of messed her up because she was very aware that she was a 13-year-old playing a Lolita type, not like a Lolita character,
Yeah.
but she's talking about her like that feels even weird saying, but she's like talking about
Even
her,
the scenes that she had to film with him, where he had to come and kiss her on the cheek, and
like the looks on her face, and she's talking about like breast size and with an adult. Like that's the only reason that works is because of the two of them. And maybe I should have realized this when I was 14 watching it, but where I'm at now, I'm like, this is not good, Hutton. Like, get out of there. Like, this,
no.
even if you're,
Well, he could get beaten up.
yeah,
Right? Like if her dad finds out. I mean, that's
yeah,
I
like
mean,
the skating bit, and like, imagine if we were like Toby Emmerich and like watching Timothy Hutton do that. I would be like, yo, get out of here.
Yeah, I would skate over there and be like, what are you doing?
Yeah, exactly. So it's a thing that really, I think, in the end of the day, and 20 years later, people really haven't written about it. And the people writing about Portman's, when her comments are like, yeah, the movie does reference that with the Lolita thing and all that. So articles aren't overly, like, they're not trying to like get rid of this scene. They're not hating it or like it's aged horribly, but it's not necessary. She could have been a freshman in college. And
Well,
that's still odd.
it's risky. I don't know if it's risky or smart, but the whole Portman aspect to this movie was a risky supporting point. They didn't need that to make their point because they had Sorvino, they had Uma Thurman, they had Rappaport and breaking up. It was one element of this ensemble cast that could have stood alone on its own without that.
Yeah, I get it, and the critics liked it. I mean, everyone had, but I think too, if it wasn't Natalie Portman, who wasn't such an excellent, smart, intuitive, funny,
Right, they probably just had the
young
right person.
actor, this would have played horribly. I don't like that. I'm not. It's
The actors shined.
Yeah.
They stepped up and they shine.
It's
It's like was it Keanu Reeves in The Replacements when he was reading the script about a bunch of football players doing the electric slide in jail and how he was like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. But then he's like, actors step up and shine. You're right. They probably cast her because she was the best available. She's the best in the game at that time, coming off the professional and being that talented of an actor.
She had some humdinger early roles, Professional, and then Heat, where she attempts suicide, and then Pacino has to drive her to the hospital, and then this
There's a lot of
movie,
heavy roles.
like
There's movies about murder. There's a lot of murder and affairs. I mean, that's some. She didn't have a childhood for sure.
Not at all. And so she said that really did affect her later on in life with her roles. Like that's what she loved. Garden State. She got to play like a weirdo, and she was so happy about that. I don't know, man. I get it. I think it makes a point, but I think it's one of those things where it's just the acting was good, but it's I don't know.
Ryan Reynolds had an interview about his daughters and if they were going to go into acting like their parents, and he said, no, we're just going to have them go straight to cocaine instead. Like instead of just skip the acting and go straight to the cocaine for the self. But I mean, he was joking, which is just him saying that he doesn't want them to act until they're older so they can have a childhood is what he was saying. But you're right, that is risky. I mean, people do sacrifice a lot to be in these films at a young age.
It's just not, I don't know. The more I look at it now, the more I think about it, the more I think about how I would feel if I was out and that situation happened, like with a friend. But once again, I think they got the right actors. And I mean, listen, critics loved it at the time. Every critic
They did.
loved it. So I don't know what was going on with critics at the time, but it was I guess in the end of the day, it paid off. I mean, this is still a fresh movie. The IMDb score is high. The audience score is high. I mean,
and it's interesting. I watched it again, and I was interested in the conversations.
when I said that we were covering this on Movies, Films, and Flicks, I got a lot of people going, "Oh yeah, Beautiful Girls, I love that movie." So I think it's good to watch and kind of reevaluate and reappraise.
And why do we like it so much? That's what I think is healthy. Well, why do we like it then? Why do we like it now? And really evaluate that, because I never really thought about it until now about why I liked it so much. Why did it resonate so much for me in high school?
I think, all right, so let's look at like 96 movies that came out in 96. So this wasn't like an overtly crass movie. I mean, they do have those discussions, but I don't know, if you look at like 1996 was Swingers and like, like, oh, you're so money, and which was fine, but there weren't many movies like this. Like, this is like a diner. This is like one of those movies where it's just a bunch of guys talking and meeting in a diner and talking and these conversations. And so I think these movies were really lacking for us, for kids, teenagers. We watched everything. I bought Natural Born Killers used on VHS. I think I bought Dunstan Checks In and that. But it's
I saw Pulp Fiction at 13, I think.
Yeah, no, I was 12. You were 14.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was too early to watch Pulp Fiction.
And so, I mean, we were watching everything at the time. We knew what was going on, but this was kind of a rare, because also, too, if you think about post-94, you had Pulp Fiction, Things to Do in Denver When You're Dead, all these hyper-stylized movies, and, we had, we're still getting the big action blockbusters. But like Clerks came out in 94, but that was so much different and caustic than this movie. And then you have this one where it's just conversations, and it's people. I think people do learn a lesson. I do think another interesting thing is Lauren Holly's character in this film, where a lot of these guys that we get to spend time with, they're treated somewhat three-dimensionally. You get to kind of spend time with them, but I do feel like Darian Smalls, she's just outright vilified the entire film. Like, there's really, even at the scene in the library, the scene at the prom.
With the daughters crying when they're trying to talk to each other in the library, that was hard. Yeah. That was a hard scene. And then they twist the knife when the kid from high school calls her a snake at the party. Yeah. So they really went after her in this movie.
I feel bad for snakes because I don't think they're that mean. But it's like, I just think, like, you're as mean as a snake, and like some black snake hanging out. It's like, oh man, some garden snake. Why?
What'd I do to you?
Some boa constrictors just hanging out right now. Like, what's the deal? Yeah, but I think there are certain. You can tell this was written by a dude, and a guy who can write, but a guy in his 20s, and it's interesting how there is a definite power dynamic towards the male side in this film. Which,
completely.
Which I do think keeps it from. I never thought about that when I was 14, but you look at it now, and it doesn't paint like in Rosie O'Donnell, like, she's talking about being the feminist, but she's also Rosie O'Donnell. You don't have like Mira Sorvino as that character. Does that make sense? Like, he does paint it quite interestingly in some ways.
Yeah, they had the comedian. Rosie O'Donnell's the comedian playing that role,
doing the bits. And so, listen, people still love it, but I do think there's definite power imbalance to it. That I think if you don't have any good guidance or parents or people looking out for you, and you watch this movie, you're like, yeah, this is the normal thing when you're 14, but it's not. So I don't know. What do you think about Holly's character?
It's good. I mean, I think the voices are okay as long as they're counterbalanced in other movies with other voices with different perspectives on similar situations. And Lauren Holly, it was funny. The first impression is when she meets them at 5:00 in the morning to get them coffee, and she looked great. Mm-hmm. Like, at 5:00 in the morning and you look great. Like, what? Good for you. I remember thinking how strange that whole conversation was with the coffee and the styrofoam mugs. But yeah, I mean, she's supporting player. It was a means to an end. Mm-hmm. But it would have been better served having a little more deeper aspects to that character.
Yeah, like, she's like, do you think I enjoy this too? Like, I don't, you know what I mean? Like, you think this is fun? Like, I don't know. It's just, but I guess they're calling it Beautiful Girls, but then they don't really give that much characterization to a lot of them. Like, Uma Thurman's cool, but she's kind of an ideal. Like, she has that speech about how she loves when her boyfriend says "Good night, baby girl." Like, that's just the only four things I need to hear.
Oh, good night, sweet girl.
Sweet girl.
I googled is good night one word or two? I didn't know, so I googled it. and the majority of definitions say 2 words when good night, but it doesn't make sense because goodbye is 1 word. But I guess good morning is 2 words. So I had to Google, like, I was hoping to really get them. Like, oh, I got you. I got you, writer. It's actually 3 words. But good night is technically 2.
Good night and good luck. I guess if you look at that.
I'm a grammar nerd, so I had to look into that one.
But I guess it's that speech. And I mean, but still, I mean, I guess everyone does grow up. You know, the guys do grow up in this movie. And, you know, I saw on the poster in the 90s, someone's like the best date movie in years. And I'm like, is it?
Well, I think people didn't know what this one is. I think it was a lot like Office Space, where like you didn't know what Office Space was. Like, I had a question for you, and I was looking up the description. I actually rented this to rewatch it, and the description was an all-star cast sparks this captivating comedy of a group of old friends whose 10-year high school reunion creates some hilariously unexpected surprises. Timothy Hutton, Matt Dillon, Michael Rappaport may have lost a bit of their youth, but they're still ready to party with Uma Thurman, Rosie O'Donnell, Lauren Holly, and Mira Sorvino, the beautiful girls who turn their lives upside down! ! So my question to you, and sorry for that long read, just because, do companies or the marketing teams, do they even care about providing an accurate description, or are they just trying to sell movies 20 years after it's released?
You know, that's a great question, because you look at some of these movies that come out like nowadays, like some of these A24 films I love, like Green Knight. When a marketing department gets their hand on it, they're like, oh man, this is like a movie called Green Knight and there's really no knighting in it. Like there's no really violence. Like how are we going to market this? So like we got to get butts in seats. So you can't just say a wildly esoteric romp into surrealist knighthoods. This is like full of like, you know, allegory and metaphors. Like, now you get back, no, the Green Knight chops the dude's head off, and now he has to go back to him for a year later to walk towards his fate. Like and along the way, there'll be a lot of perilous stuff. Like you have to build that. So I mean, this movie, right? Like a dude comes home and hangs out with his alcoholic buddies and parents, and realizes that they just need to get their stuff right. Like it's not.
Yeah. So, Mark, this is a perfect lead-in to what we do every podcast. And how would you describe this movie in less than 10 words? I'm sorry, it's a perfect lead-in. I want to hear what you think.
Dude comes home, realizes his life is good. Dude comes home, realizes his life is actually pretty good. There, 10 words.
Oh, that's a good way of looking at the positive. I was thinking of it as don't put unrealistic photos of models on your walls.
Yeah, exactly. Ideals are not good.
Right.
Especially the 1990s ideals that were shoved down our throats. You know, like everyone getting makeovers and just that whole culture of all of. Well, I mean, maybe nowadays, who knows? But
yeah, it's that longing for something better always.
I mean, it's kind of interesting though. He's just a mope at home. His career's not really going great. Comes home, kicks back, kind of falls back in old trends. He goes through some pretty wild ordeals, he takes a break, sees Annabeth Gish again. He's like, oh, my life is pretty good. She's a lawyer and she likes my piano playing and I have really nothing to complain about. And I've probably not given 100% to my piano playing. Like, has this guy given 100% to his piano playing, Eric?
No, not at all. He plays at tiki bars. The way they introduced him in the beginning, remember when he paid for everything with cash? He was playing in that boozy piano bar. He buys a Greyhound ticket with cash. He's just getting by. He's scraping by week to week.
It's just a depressed dude, not giving his all.
Right, just floating around, not knowing what he wants. Because then he was thinking about taking a sales job, too. So he was kind of 1 foot into the piano playing and 1 foot out.
So it's, yeah. I mean, at the end, I think he's kind of like, man, I'm getting out of here. Things aren't too bad. Maybe... But I mean, he had to go through all that, so that's my thing. But yeah, I like yours better. Don't put idealized photos of models on your walls and expect that of someone when you aren't that. And so how about this? Let's take a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll you have some fun stuff for me, don't you?
I do.
All right, we'll talk more beautiful girls. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Movies, Films, and Flicks, and I think we're gonna have a pretty great, excellent, pretty good. What else is there?
Superb.
Oh,
it was really superb. This will be the most superb out of all superb second halves of a podcast in movies, films, and flicks history.
Oh, that's some superb thinking right there. There's a lot of superb in this movie.
Yeah, there was 6 or 7 mentions of like literally. Why was that? Why was that word used so many times?
I think it was 95, 96 maybe when he wrote it. I mean, he wrote this quick. I mean, superb. Like, it's just a very written line. Like, it's just, I don't think I've ever asked somebody, how you doing today? Superb. Or you want to go, how's that pizza? Superb. You want to go roll? Superb. I've never heard that. There are lines that you just hear in movies.
Yeah, I thought it was funny. It's like they're unhappy, they're sad. Both the brother and the dad were sad, and then when they were finally happy, they didn't know how to express their happiness.
Yeah.
So they kept saying the same thing over and over again.
Living the dream. It was a good David Arquette, man. He's a squirrely little guy, isn't he?
Yeah, the way they introduced him was perfect. He was all hungover. It was noon. He said he had to take a dump. So he ran away.
Very honest.
It was a good role for him.
Yeah, and I like that he wasn't mad at his brother or anything. They just didn't talk. They did not know each other.
Yeah, there's an age gap there, and they just weren't connected.
Yeah, he's maybe 21, maybe
something like that.
So wait, you had something in store for me, right?
I do. So one of my favorite parts about co-hosting on a movies, films, and flicks episode is my questions for Mark section.
Ooh.
So I always come with a whole lot of questions for Mark. But first off, so I feel like sometimes Matt Dillon, with the exception of There's Something About Mary, plays a similar role in every movie. Kind of morose, I don't know, downtrodden, kind of sullen. How would you describe a typical Matt Dillon performance?
Okay. So like some of his characters have been really down, but on their luck, but for some reason you just never buy his character being down on his luck. He's just like morally gray. There we go, morally gray.
Morally gray, and he knows it too.
Yeah, wild things.
He's morally gray, and he knows it. He knows his own depravity.
There it is. I like that. Morally gray.
Oh, that's a good one.
I feel good about it. I could retire on that one.
Strong
Superb.
work.
Superb.
All right.
That was my one for every episode.
Superb times 10. Okay, so 2. What is your favorite movie about going home after a long time?
Jeez Louise. I mean, Grosse Pointe Blank is always a lot of fun because
yeah, it is.
That movie works for me because he's a hitman who comes back home. Like everyone thought he was dead. Everyone talks about it like 10 years. 10 years. It's just, I dig that a lot. I think, his relationship with Minnie Driver, just meeting the parents, the high school reunion. They don't even spend time at the high school reunion. He just beats the heck out of his trainer and the real, like, Benny the Jet in that awesome fight. And he just sort of cruises around.
Yeah. It was such a wide gap between high school and where he was 10 years later. That's the funny part about it. Like how much he changed. He turned into a killer.
That's why it's fun, right? He's just totally different. I think Garden State's quite good too, but I like Garden State's more like a Wizard of Oz type thing where he just goes on an adventure like throughout the city of New Jersey.
Why are these movies so interesting about returning home after such a long period of time?
Like there's a good dynamic there already. So you either have the ex. I mean, think about Sweet Home Alabama. You have the ex. Right?
The history.
So you got highfalutin city life in L.A., in Garden State, and then highfalutin city life in New York, and you come home to Alabama, or you come home to Jersey, you come home to small town Massachusetts. So you have that conflict. The towns change, but you kind of there's already some conflict with other characters. They know you really well, but they know old you. So then it's really easy to explain the character. Hey man, remember 10 years ago when you pooped off the moon tower? Like, well, I'm a different guy now. Like, so you have.
I don't know if it's old you or if it's they know who you really are.
Yeah, maybe
at your core.
Yeah. They know who you really are. They've seen you at your worst, at your best. There is, and it's weird too, man. I mean, like we left our hometown, like where we grew up. So you come back and there's just, you do feel like an outsider. So you have that narrative already in there.
Yeah.
So I think narratively speaking, it's rich. It's full of storytelling possibilities that I think is good for writers. It's a good crutch.
Superb answer.
Yeah.
Third question. If you could recast Beautiful Girls in 2021, who would you cast?
All right, so you might need to type in some of these characters. I don't know if you know them, but I put together a really funky one. So for me, for the Rappaport role as what Paul, uh,
Someone mouthy, someone slightly immature.
I have Carlos Santos. So he's 34, but he's in Gentified. He's in
Uh-huh.
Gentified, and he's in Vacation Friends, and he's
Right.
really funny. He's kind of a motor mouth. He kind of plays. I could see him just idealizing something else and still being likable. So Carlos Santos,
Nice.
that's mine.
I thought you would have. I thought the obvious choice here was Pete Davidson, but that's an equally good choice.
Well, we were joking around. Pete Davidson already made this movie.
The
About,
King
yeah,
of Staten Island.
yeah, he's been in Arrested Development for so long. Actually, he stayed in his hometown. But yeah, he's been in like
That's right. He still lives with his mom, right?
yeah, I wanted to open up the market to somebody else and have them
Okay.
have it. So my
You can't let him corner the market on those roles.
yeah, it's just, like like Pete Davidson is another guy in Arrested Development. So next, I would have as Birdman Dillon. This is controversial, but I want to go a different type of character, and I'm gonna say Alexander Ludwig from Vikings. I don't know if you've seen him before. He's like a real
Interesting pick.
yeah. So big. He's like 6'4", 6'5". He could easily play like a football player that made it big, but then blew out his knee, and so now he's back
Right.
home. So I think he's a good actor too. So I'd
Well,
love to
with
see
a
him in
name
that.
like Alexander Ludwig, you'd have to be a large person.
Yeah,
You can't,
exactly.
you can't be a small person.
Yeah,
with that
dude's
name.
huge. And then I have
Wait,
as
wait,
Willie.
hold on. So can I ask something about
Yeah.
real quick? I'm wondering. You went with size. I would have gone with brooding. I would have gone with like a Kit Harington
But just
from Game of Thrones. Someone who's mastered the brood.
imagine watching Kit Harington snowplow. Like I don't want to watch that.
He's too good looking, I guess, to snowplow.
But yeah, it's his brooding is so much deeper than Matt Dillon's. Matt Dillon has an everyday brooding. Kit Harington's is like an all-world brooding. Like
Like the whole universe rests on his shoulders.
exactly. Matt Dillon just kind of has a like I get it. You know what? It's you can't like, Jon Snow, he gets sent to the wall. It's cold. Like he's a bastard. Like that's Kit
That's
Harington
heavy.
brooding.
Not like I have my
Pompeii.
own company and
Yeah.
I'm still, I have a beautiful girlfriend.
Yeah. And like
What is it?
exactly. So like I'm just kind of miserable. Like it's I'm not as cool as I used to be. Like the two wildly different broods.
Good point. Good
So I
point.
mean, like, Kid Harington in this would just suck a portal would form and just suck the movie into itself.
It would go from a dramedy to just a straight up horror movie. Or something.
I don't want to
Take a
be
nose
here
dive back.
anymore. Yeah, just get me out of this. So yeah, you can't have his type of brooding in this movie. You need an everyday brooding.
I didn't realize there's so many layers to brooding.
I mean, like right? Like, you got the Gosling brood, but Gosling brood is more like mysterious.
Is there an
So-
actor out there that says less words per scene than Ryan Gosling?
It's a great question. John Krasinski in Quiet Place.
Yeah. Nothing.
Yeah.
Well, in sports how they analyze productivity per minute on the floor.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
Ryan Gosling, words per scene.
That's
Efficiency,
funny.
words per scene.
Oh
He
man,
would lead.
that's funny. Like efficiency. As far as dialogue, yeah, he's up there, number one for sure. That's funny. Like an RBI.
He
words
found
per
this
minute.
corner of the universe where he's an actor, but he found a way to say the least amount of lines. Like
His words
it's
per
really
minute.
impressive. Yeah.
I like that one because I mean, First Man, Only God Forgives, Drive.
Well, you have to memorize all that stuff for the movies. So if you can do less words to memorize, the better.
I would not want to do a Ryan Reynolds movie.
Which is the one where Ryan Reynolds fought the Angel of Death and he said like 3 lines of the whole movie.
Ryan Reynolds fought the Angel of
No,
Death.
Ryan Gosling, where he says want to fight.
Oh, Only God Forgives. What a beautiful movie.
Yeah. But he didn't have a lot of lines in that one either.
Mm-mm. That "want to fight" line was awesome. He just walked up to a god, "want to fight," and he just gets schnockered. Oh, I love it. That's a good movie. That's a great looking movie. I mean, I don't recommend it to people because they would hate me, but I love it.
That one hurt my soul after you recommended it. It's not for the faint of heart.
But it's just the colors in it and the themes. Like this is a guy who still has some hope left in him, but his family's like sucking it away from him. Like he's in utter depravity, and I feel like he still has somewhat of a soul left. And just I don't know the look of the movie. Oh man, they had to go do an appearance and get paid like $500,000 to go finish this movie because they didn't have enough money to finish it. Only God forgives.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. That's art. I
So
think that movie's art. All right, this is
so
gonna be a
Timothy
weird one.
Hutton. Okay.
I don't know if you've watched like Yesterday, or did you watch Avenue 5 on HBO? Did you watch Tenet?
Negative. No.
So there's a guy named Himesh Patel, who he played a
Ooh.
musician in Yesterday. He like the guy who covers all the Beatles. But I think he
Uh-huh.
would be a great Hutton. Like he could really pull off the likable, horribly self-absorbed human being.
A little squirrely, but a little handsome at the same time.
Yeah, and like I think he could do it. Show up in that jacket. Like I think he would be really good.
Okay. Nice
So
pick.
all right, so then I'm gonna do for Mo the Emmerich role. I'm gonna cast Dylan O'Brien from The Maze Runner because if you watch Love and Monsters, he's just the nicest kid. So you could see him with a family, married kid, but then
Nice.
throwing down. So I got that.
Just
And then-
perfectly content. Just content in his life.
For Kev, the Max Perlich, I have Eller Coltrane just because I'm a Boyhood fan, and so I want to see that kid get more roles. Just a side role. I think he could be super likable, playing along with that. For the Andera role, who played Uma Thurman, I put Isa Gonzalez
Mm-hmm.
because I think Bloodshot. I love that movie. So and Baby Driver.
So she's beautiful. Is she approachable and incredibly cool as well?
Well, I mean that's like the character in Bloodshot. That's the character in like
Yeah,
a few
good
other
point.
movies. So I think she could nail that. So I'm
Nice
giving her
pick,
that.
man.
For Darian, I'm going Cara Delevingne. She would have to be a little bit better written, but
Uh-huh.
that kind of character. And then I was thinking for Marty, I was thinking Catherine Newton, who I don't know if you've seen Freaky or The Map of Tiny Perfect Things,
Yes, I have. I love
But-
the map of Tiny Perfect Things.
but you could get her playing like a freshman in college who's like 18, coming home from break. And then
So we're
meeting-
rewriting the movie to turn Marty's character into a freshman in college.
yeah, the idea does not. That idea falls apart. Like
Yeah.
if I was a dad, I would murder. I would not murder. I would pick that dude up and throw him into the lake. Like I would, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
dude.
he was. Yeah, he was clearly in the wrong there, and he was risking physical harm upon himself.
And I'm not
Impossible
saying,
event.
and I'm not saying this is right either, but I do think it's a little bit more. Where he's like, I could wait for you to get out of college, and they're like, nah. Like this, they could have a good witty conversation, which I think, and she's cool. Like in Freaky, she's cool. Map of Tiny Perfect Thing, she's cool. She's in the she was in Blockers. She can be funny. I think she could pull it off. Like in Map of Tiny Perfect Thing, she was cool. So I think she could pull
Right.
that off.
I was thinking that Zendaya could do this too.
Oh yeah, she'd be great. Like a 18-year-old, 19-year-old in college. And then I guess I don't know, Kat Graham as the Mira character because she's in a Christmas movie on Netflix with Ludwig and they're really good together, so you might as well just put them back together.
Is she kind of mercurial?
Yeah, super nice. Like really great.
Okay,
super
because
nice
Mira was
presence.
kind of mercurial. She has some things she was dealing with too.
So then give her that, and then I was thinking for the Martha Plimpton role, Jan, like Haley Steinfeld.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, because she would. I would love to see her with Carlos Santos, like the two of them yelling at each other. Like she's in full True Grit mode, and he's in full like Gentrified mode. They're just talking really fast and going at each other. So I think
All right.
that would be.
Oh, nice pick.
I think that would be a good cast. So I love this cast that I've come up with. I see it. I see it in my head, and that's important. And if I didn't, that'd be weird. But I could see this cast.
Could you
working
produce this
together.
movie? Could you produce it?
I mean, yeah. I mean,
Did you write the script?
No,
No. Okay.
I can't carry that dialogue, man. I don't want to write for the. I want to write monster movies. I don't want to. I'll write a monster movie or a sci-fi movie. I can't.
Did you ever finish Squid Lake?
Did I ever finish Squid Lake? No, I never finished that. I finished the vampire script, and I have a couple that I'm working on that are cool. I'm just too busy. But yeah, the vampire one was fun. I had a bunch of ideas. Like they weren't good. I had an idea like a say anything idea, but I was like a young idiot kid, and I thought it was like provocative. And now I look back at it, I'm like, woof. So yeah, I would not want to write this movie. I would hire. Who would I hire? Who could write this movie? Let's see. I don't know. I'd hire Sandra Oh to direct it. I feel like she could get it. And whoever writes Killing Eve. Wait, who writes Killing Eve? What's her name? I don't even think she would want to write this, but she came in for Bond rewrites.
I don't know. Who wrote Crazy Rich Asians? I think whoever did that could do anything.
Oh yeah, that's a good script. Yeah, let that whole team do it. Let the director of Crazy Rich Asians come in. Let him direct it. Boom, done. And I was thinking, we brought up Henry Golding, but he's like 34. I wouldn't buy him at a 10-year high school reunion. Would you?
No, he's just too good looking and too sophisticated. That I don't think I could Henry Golding to any other role that is not very sophisticated and polished. I don't know if I would believe it or not.
All right, John M. Chu directs it. I like that. John M. Chu. And then Adele Lim, she wrote Crazy Rich Asians, Raya and the Last Dragon. Yeah, you know what? Let her do that. And what else has she written? Yeah, she did Raya. She's written like Lethal Weapon, the TV show. Life Unexpected. She wrote One Tree Hill. Yeah, she'd be great. Life on Mars. She would nail it. Do that. I think she's worked with Rosenberg before. The writer from this. So yeah, there we go. We got our.
That's a good cast.
Yeah, Scott Rosenberg developed it, so he could let her write it.
Mark, you really connected a lot of dots here.
Yeah, that's scary.
We can make this happen.
I did not intend for this to happen, but it did. So yeah, that's it right there. I like it. That's it. That's my cast. I think it's a good cast. I think people would like this movie. I like it. Got anything else for me here?
I think they would, but the 90s was just so specific. I mean, they have to completely reimagine it for the anxiety of today.
Yeah, I mean, definitely more phones. No, like, you couldn't just leave somebody and be like, hey, I won't talk to you for 2 weeks. I mean, you could still make it a period piece. I mean, but you still, I mean, look how many Hallmark movies are made where people travel back home. That's the plot of every Hallmark movie. So you could still do this. They travel. Everyone travels to go. No, that doesn't work.
That's a good point because most of all the Hallmark movies involve going home in some fashion.
Yeah. So it still works. You know, make one of them own
Same
a Christmas
formula
shop
every time.
Yeah, like a Birdman owns a Christmas shop.
Turn this into a musical.
Oh man. Wait, I got some singers in here. Why not?
Do you?
I mean, Haley Steinfeld, she's a singer.
Right. You know, this movie had a really good soundtrack to it.
Yeah.
Do you remember how in the 90s, how they picked actual songs to correspond with the movie? You remember when soundtracks were a really big thing? Oh, is that the Kiss from the Rose by a Rose on the Grave song came out?
That song had so many people.
Or Aerosmith, Armageddon, Will Smith.
Cable Guy soundtrack. Remember that? Remember the Crow soundtrack?
Right. The Crow is probably one of the best soundtracks. But that's the 90s where they put so much thought into it. Mm-hmm. So they had a lot of piano playing in the background, too, and a lot of the tender scenes in this movie. But the soundtrack was right on the money. It really complemented all the scenes.
I mean, you had Neil Diamond. Yeah, Chris Isaac. That's like perfect for a Beautiful Girls movie. So yeah, it was good. I miss soundtracks like this. Even opened up with a song called, what is it, Beautiful Girl. That's very literal.
Someone was researching that. They're like, I have to find a song
that matches the title. I'm just gonna go out and make songs. I remember I was joking around one day. Like I wanted to start a band that just sings sports anthems. So like, strike 'em out, like that.
Like the pop rock.
Like yeah, like a pop rock anthem band who just does like arena rock songs about sports. Like, we play baseball, strike 'em out. Like, just the most, like, horribly novel songs that you could play during a baseball game.
So you're like Andrew WK for sports.
Yeah.
When it's time to party, we will party hard.
Yeah, when it's time to play baseball, we will play baseball hard. Just like the name of the band's called Sports. And we just do a theme for each album. Like, Ace, your aces, tennis. Like, just...
The tennis anthem. Where you just play it while people are trying to play tennis.
Hope like, one of them catches off, right? I would just do the most cynical jams. I would hope like I would do a Christmas album. Santa's flying overhead. Yada,
all you need is one hit.
Exactly.
Just one hit.
Set for life. But I want to call the band Sports. But I was already in the Brewskis, so we didn't do it. That'd be a funny band, just Sports.
Sports or Sporks?
Sports. Sports, and we just sing sports anthems.
With the Z.
Sports. Like jock jams, like dun 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 basketball.
I feel like your idea is either 20 years too late or just, strangely ahead of its time.
I want that to be on my gravestone. That would be it. His ideas were not of this moment.
So beautiful girls, maybe to wrap this, what was the one thing that hit home hardest to you when you watched this 20 years after you first watched it? What is the one takeaway? Like, if anyone asked you, hey, should I watch this movie? What would you say?
Man, if someone asked me if I should go, would I recommend this movie to someone right now? Would I step up to bat for this movie?
Would you or how far would you go in recommending this movie to somebody?
I think I would. I don't know if I could. I think there's some goodness to it, but it's like I don't know what you learn from this movie, and I don't think you have to learn anything from a film. I don't know.
I feel like it's richer than a lot of the films today in the characters and the conversations and the complexity. I watched this with my wife, but when we did it, I had to give her heavy dose of context before we watched it. Like,
what did she think about it?
Listen, I know you're gonna hate this. I know you're gonna be annoyed about the women having low self-esteem in it, but they called themselves out. Like, you'll see it like throughout the movie. They'll have a counterbalance. They'll say something, but then Rosie O'Donnell will go on a speech about how they're idiots. They'll lose the people in their life. They don't realize how flawed they are, and they call it out repeatedly in the movie. So for everything that you may not like, there's a counter to what you don't like in the movie. So it's constantly calling itself out, and it's really making fun of these guys or trying to say, don't behave like this. So before we watched it, it's easy. I think she would have just bagged on it. She's like, oh, this is just the opposite of a damsel in distress movie where some guy's praying that some woman will come along and bail him out. So that's where I think the head would go immediately if they watch this again. But it needs that heavy context to say, no, wait, this is what it's really about. That's how I would describe it. But I would probably recommend it as a smart movie that's really rich in character development.
I mean, listen, the performances are good.
It's icky in some ways, but it calls itself out. But it really walks that line.
I guess it's I think it's a really good snapshot of the '90s, and so I think if like someone's like, hey, Mark, recommend 5 kind of offbeat coming of age, or like I don't know, romantic movies or like date movies or something, I would start from like 90 to 92 to like Singles, or like and then I would do something else. Like, so I think it's a good snapshot of the time. And I think
it's a heavy dose. It's a heavy dose of nostalgia for sure.
I think it was a lot more sensitive than a lot of the movies in the '90s were at the time. I don't think there were many because remember what we had? It was not a good time for sensitivity because there was Swingers, Nutty Professor, like Multiplicity, Tin Cup, Happy Gilmore. There was like Flirting with Disaster. There wasn't
a lot of introspection.
It was very To It by Sea. Maybe? Yeah, I mean, like Mrs. Winterbourne, or like kind of fluffy like Paul Bearer. There wasn't anything out there at the time that was like this. And it was also about a movie about friendship as well between men. Right. So, yeah, I mean, sure. I just think it's something different. I think it's
about community. Yeah, it is about community in many ways.
I think it does. You also had Jerry Maguire that year, but like that was just more so about him. Like,
right. That's about one person's development versus an ensemble.
Yeah, so I think, yeah, sure. I mean, I think you would just have to load them up and be like, listen, like, here's what it's about. But I guess in '96 it did stand. It stood out for sure. But there's something about it. It hasn't really You know what's interesting? It has a good review. It has a good review on IMDb, but it's only like 50,000 people have voted. It still has a good review, but there haven't been really any recent reviews. So it's not like it's a massive cult classic.
And I think it made only $10 million in the theater.
So I think the people who watched it like it, but it's kind of weird where some movies in the 90s have become like cult classics. Like, oh, you gotta watch this. Like, but see, it's not as over the top as like a Boondock Saints. It didn't
Right.
exactly flop, so it can't become a Wet Hot American Summer. So it walks a kind of middle line of fondly remembered, but it was well received. And so, that's not, you know what I mean? Like a lot of
I
people
do.
aren't. So it's it's interesting how it's well received, but it's not a cult classic. But it just sort of exists, but you don't really hear many people talking about it nowadays unless an article comes up.
So I've been walking around and I've noticed an increasing amount of shirts and hats for the show Friends. Like I've seen a lot more Friends shirts running around due to this age of streaming. Do you think this renewed interest in Friends will increase interest in these other movies that resemble Friends about these group of 20-somethings navigating relationships?
Well, this is such a different 20-something-year-old movie, though. Like these
No, it was
characters.
there about the same time as Friends was
Oh
on.
no, but I'm saying like these 20-somethings are way different from most 20-somethings. They feel like 40-somethings. Like they feel very. I don't know.
Right.
It's more. It's more.
Okay.
Like, Clerks has those crazy conversations in it, and like the gross out gags that people latch onto. This movie kind of plays it quite real. I mean, listen, Eric, in the 90s there were 27-year-old dudes who were thinking like this, like very kind of like in time. Like so, it's. I think but like it also doesn't have. It doesn't have like extreme profanity. It doesn't have extreme nudity. It doesn't have a lot of death. It's not so bad it's good.
You're right.
Yeah.
It did not have a strip club scene like every other 90s movie that existed.
There wasn't a lot of gross out humor. There's an entire scene about them watching Rich Man Poor Man. Like, it's not like there's a lot. It's not going to become and it was well received, so it won't be like, oh man, you guys just don't understand. It's so good. No, it's like it's well rated everywhere. So it's kind of hard to go to bat for this because it got the theatrical release, it got the good reviews, but then it doesn't have, like doesn't have Tom Cruise running through it doesn't have any like super memorable quotes like "You complete me." Like there's no over sentimentality about it. So I think that's one
It's
reason
just
why.
a story about a group of friends in a small town. It's almost like it was an overachieving movie.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, Ted Demme did a good job directing it. It's well shot. It looks authentic. The town
Like we should
looks
have
great.
forgotten we should have forgotten this movie by now, but because it was so well executed, we haven't. It stayed in our psyche.
So I mean, think about how many movies we watched in this age. Like I had my 12-inch TV VCR in Columbia House, and like there's so many movies out. So I mean, how
Yeah.
many movies have we watched that we've just forgotten? Like I'm looking through this list right now. I'm like, oh yeah, I watched these.
But
So
as I get older, the barometer of how good a movie is if I remember it or not.
yeah,
Increasingly.
like, the day after, sometimes if I'm like thinking about it, I watch some movies, Eric, and I'm like the next day, someone's like, what'd you think about it? I'm like, oh yeah, I watched that. So we've been thinking
Yeah.
about this movie for 20 plus years. So it must have affected us when we were kids somehow, but I think it's just different. It's not.
Yeah, and it's so much better than I think Miles Teller had 3 movies about coming to your own in your 20s with your buddies. And
Yeah.
I think I watched a couple of them, but I don't remember a thing, and they were completely uninteresting. It's an easy thing to write about, but it's very few stick around.
Like, Swingers was 96, right? But they had You're So Money, Beautiful Babies, when you
Well, that launched
it had the
a whole
voicemail scene there.
generation of swing bands. Remember when
Exactly.
swing bands were a thing again for a year?
I bought those albums, and
The Brian Setzer Orchestra.
it's You're So Money, you're cruising around, like the voicemail scene, like Please Don't Ever Call Me Again. There's cringe moments in that. This movie doesn't really have cringe moments. So I mean, yeah, it has cringe moments, but then the two characters who you're cringing at like figure it out and then they just go their own ways. But I don't know. It's I know it sounds like I'm bagging on it, but I think it's a quality film. The scores represent that, and I mean, it just doesn't have something that keeps it up there. Like it'll never be like this movie's trending on Netflix. Like it won't have that.
You're right. It's hard to recommend a movie where the guys are moping around for most of the movie. I mean, it's it's a movie about guys moping and then figuring it out at the end.
There's some good beats, but yeah, but still, I'm glad we got to digest this though, because I own this movie. I still have the DVD for some reason. I didn't even know I had it. I need
Are
to
you going
organize
to
it.
move up the DVD in prominence after this episode?
Well, I know I own it now, so that's good. But it's a good hangout picture too,
You have
because
that many DVDs?
like there's no big problems here. Like when she comes to town, she doesn't catch him with Uma Thurman. He has to win her back. Like he doesn't. She comes back. He's like, oh yeah, actually she's pretty great. I'll get
There's
over
no
myself.
boy. Well, there was a boy meets girl, boy loses girl, boy gets girl back with Dillon's character and Mira Sorvino, but that was it. It wasn't even the main character.
And she comes
Tangent.
back so easily. He just gets his butt kicked, and she's sleeping there at his bed. Like, you know what I mean? He doesn't have to say anything. Her. Like he wasn't even gonna go get her back. He just got his butt kicked, and she came back to him.
Is that a secret? If you want a girl back, you just get your ass kicked.
Yeah, because think about it, Eric. Like he didn't go to like apologize. Remember in Goon, with what he was with Allison Pill. Then he went to the boyfriend's house. Was like, all right, man, beat me up because I did this.
Punched
to you.
him repeatedly.
Yeah. He's like, I did this to you. Like I get it. Like get your anger out. Dillon wouldn't do that. He was just drinking beer and being antagonistic. And then he got beat up. And then Mira's like, oh, I love you.
That scene was great because it didn't have to go that way. I mean, he said a few words, he slapped the guy on the shoulder and left. So he was intentionally working out some anger against that guy. I mean, Dillon was, he was the catalyst for that fight, I think.
Yeah. And then Mira comes back to him. So everything's sort of solved pretty quickly. You have a bunch of, it's very much like a Dazed and Confused, where you have these different interactions with different characters, kind of floating through their lives, meeting different people. And it's a good hangout picture, I think. But yeah, you don't really have any main catalyst that, like, remember Knight's Tale? I love that movie, but problems are solved very quickly.
Yeah, but they had people spontaneously breaking out into dance.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah. Critics hated on that. They're like, there's no Bowie during the medieval ages.
And they had, Bellamy. Is it Bellamy or Bellamy?
Oh, yeah, just belting out.
Bettany. Yeah, and the poetry. And they had the good sidekicks. And then they had the We Will Rock You while they were jousting.
Yeah, there's a lot to. I watched that movie a lot, and that's a popular episode here. Yeah,
that's a rewatchable movie.
There's speeches in Beautiful Girls, but they're not in front of audiences. They're in front of a bunch of posters of like Elle Macpherson. So it's not. But still, it doesn't make it any. It just makes it a small picture that came out in '96 that we still want to talk about today. So it must have been effective in our lives.
I think so. I think it's art, and for those of you listening, it's currently streaming on HBO Max. Oh. I recommend checking it out.
No, I didn't even know that. I was just searching. I have a lot of movies, and I was searching through it. I'm like, oh hey, that's happening to me. I own Grosse Pointe Blank. It's awesome.
You own Grosse Pointe Blank?
Matt, you wouldn't believe the movies I own. Because I got to do all this research, and so I don't like streaming. When you stream, because I have to my data comes from going the extra mile. So
you listen to the commentaries though.
Yeah, commentaries and to go the extra mile when you're streaming, sometimes they only fast forward it 10 times or they don't freeze frame. But when you have a DVD player, you can really clue in on certain moments and certain freeze frames and so that really I've found some gems just by pausing it and freeze framing a little bit and seeing what nobody else saw.
Well, that's next level stuff, Mark.
That's how you get there.
That's why there's questions for Mark instead of questions for Eric. That's why this section.
Hey, when it's your job, right?
Yeah.
People don't want to go that extra mile, man. That's why I like doing it. So, but yeah, man, thank you for joining me.
Hey, I had a superb time.
I'm
going to go hug my wife, and I'm promise not to cause any problems.
Our 1990s series continues. Starship Troopers, My Best Friend's Wedding. Oh, we did Sonic, but that's a lovely movie.
Sonic was great. Warrior was great. All right, I'll find our next 90s movie that we can revisit.
All right,
this was good. A lot of fun. Thanks for helping talk about this movie that I loved so much in high school and had no idea why. So this was really awesome.
All right, cool. So for me, Mark Hofmeyer, for Erik Hofmeyer, this is Movie Sons of Flicks. We'll see you next week.